boom, boom. What do we got here? What do we got here? What do we got? Ah! We got it! We got it! Let's see what we got in here. Let's see. Ta-da! Now we can fix our hot tub and actually have it be a hot tub and not a cold tub. So first I need to go ahead and close the water access through the heater off. So you just push these little plungers down and it has a little slot in it that you can actually make sure it goes all the way into the off position. They have these little safety clips on there so that way I guess the actual handle doesn't close on you on accident in order to prevent any kind of failure. And so just remove those clips and then you can slide those guys down in order to shut the water off. So then I dropped in my sump pump into the hot tub in order to drain it out. I ran the hose all the way out to the rocks. I don't use a lot of chlorine, but we do have salt in there. Instead of having it go on the grass, I just go ahead and have the water just get expelled into the rocks. So these are hand tight. So basically just unscrew them. You can see the little white seal in there. And then once you get both of them off on each side, you can kind of separate the sides from the heater itself and pull it out. And then to replace the heater, you just remove these two nuts that hold it on, slide the heater back in there and reattach the nuts. And then it does have torque specs that you need to follow. So got the torque wrench out and went ahead and tightened those bad boys down so that way it ensure a good seal at 15 foot-pounds. And I'm just making sure that it went through, everything's good, it's not touching the sides. I don't know that it really matters, but I did go ahead and put a little bit of Teflon tape on here. This is just the sensor that I had to take out in order to get the heater in there. And then that way I can make sure it doesn't leak, and then just reinstalled it into the heater tube itself and made sure that I didn't over tighten it, but I definitely put a little bit of strength behind it. And then you just reinstall it the way that you took it out, making sure that you have those seals in there before you put it back on. I then made sure that it was hand tight. I didn't over crank it. And then went to the control board because I just wanted to make sure all the wiring was the same. Now, I did notice on this control board that this is the original one that burnt up. This was actually on the fourth prong, and the new one that was sent is actually on the third one. So I went ahead and I just used some pliers, pulled that bad boy off, and then reinstalled it into the same location so that way I wouldn't have any issues there. Then we need to adjust the dip switches here so that way it matches the old one. And this is what sends the signal, I believe, to the control panel. So that way it would communicate correctly. So I just basically matched the original one and then flipped the little switches back to where they lined up at with the original one. I guess if you had a different style, you could use those other switches, but I only had to move two of them. So called that a day. Needed to remove these guys since they were what powers the actual heater, and then I installed the control panel by putting the screws back in place. Now, I did get these guys back on there, and as you saw on the torque settings that you need to torque those down as well to 20 inch-pounds. Now, my torque wrench doesn't go low enough to 20 inch-pounds. It only goes to 60. So as I was tightening them, I can see that it actually got down to the 20, and that way I didn't go over them in order to over tighten them. So as I started adding water back in there, I opened up the valve so that way water would flow, and I'm checking for leaks. Let the tub get filled enough to get above the surface area, and went ahead and I fired it back up and just checking to make sure I don't have any actual fires, no pun intended, and everything looks to be good there. So checking the control panel, just want to make sure I got power. I do. It does go into a prime mode, and that's going to get the air out of the line since it was off and drained. And so you just turn on the jets in order to while it's in prime mode, and then it will push those air bubbles out of there. So I just add my salt for my application. I need 2 of these guys, so I dropped those bad boys in there and called it a day.